Hi everyone, and welcome to the Brainfuse webinar recording for the Chesterfield County Public School System. My name is Jamie Wallace. I'll be conducting the webinar today. Basically, the point of today's webinar will be to go through all the different services that will be offered here within the Brainfuse Help Now service. So these will be all of the options that your students will have access to when they sign into Brainfuse. So it'll be up to you as to where exactly the link that we send will be placed. So that'll be placed, somewhere within your website, so that your students can access that. Once the student clicks on the link, this is the page that we'll get to. So for today, we're going to focus on what the student can do here within Brainfuse once they access our service. So this is our main page right here. You'll see we have a number of different buttons down here. Basically, each one of these will allow the student to access a different part of our service. So I'm going to start right up here with the Expert Help section and the first two buttons that we see here. So the first button here is for Live Help. This is sort of our foundational service. It's where a student will go when they want to connect with one of our live tutors to ask a homework question, go over a topic they're struggling with, anything like that. So this will connect the student with one of our tutors in our online classroom. So if I click on the Live Help button here to connect for a live session, all that I have to do is enter a grade level and then a subject. So you'll see we have all the standard subjects here. For the higher grade levels, you'll see some more advanced subjects, like some of the ones listed here. And if you go up to 12th grade, you'll even see some additional ones. So you choose the one that you'd like to get some help with, and then you click on the Get Live Help button. So that will let you connect with a live tutor. We also have a checkbox right here that will let you connect with a Spanish-speaking tutor if the student happens to be a Spanish speaker. So let's say I want to choose 9th grade and writing, and then I go ahead and click on the Get Live Help button right here to connect with a tutor. So this is our online classroom here that's opening up. This will look the same no matter what subject you choose when you log in. So whether it's a math session, science, anything like that, you'll see the same online classroom right here that we're looking at. For today, I've set it up so that I connect with myself, so I'm also logged in as a tutor. So we have the tutor's name down here and also over here in the participants box. So there's really two parts to our online classroom. We have our whiteboard space up here at the top of the screen and our instant message chat box down here at the bottom. So this is where most of the back and forth communication will occur, down here in the chat box. So if I want to type something back to the tutor, I can just click right down here and type it out. Usually the session will begin with a greeting from the tutor, and then the tutor will try to figure out what exactly it is that the student needs help with. The majority of the time, it's usually a student logging in with a question they're having some difficulty with, a math problem from their homework, a science equation, a test they just took. They'd like to go over some of the questions they got wrong, something like that. But it might also be a student logging in who just needs some general help on a topic. They're struggling with how to multiply fractions, something like that. They can log in here and ask their tutor for help with that topic. The tutor would be happy to help with that. So most of that sort of help will take place up here on the whiteboard space. This is where the student might type out their math problem they need some help with. Or if they need more general help on a topic, we also have lots of lessons created for all standard topics and subjects. So if a student does log in and needs some help with multiplying fractions, our tutor might load our lesson on that topic right here into the whiteboard and then work through that with the student. The lessons that we have created, they've all been created by us, and they work just like those in a textbook. So we'll go over the basics of the topic and then some sample and practice questions. And the tutor will be there the whole time going through that lesson with the student. So the way you put different items onto our whiteboard is just by using these different buttons that you see here on the left-hand side. So it works very similarly to Microsoft Paint or a program like that. So you click on the button that you'd like to use, and that will let you draw or use that button to put whatever it does onto the whiteboard. So we have the pencil to freehand draw, the eraser, which will let you erase, the ABC button, which will let you click anywhere on the board and then type. So this is all interactive. Whatever is being put on the whiteboard here by me as the student shows up on the tutor's whiteboard and vice versa. So we're essentially working on the same board. You can use the font button to change the font style and size. You can use the color wheel here to change the color of the next thing that you put on the whiteboard. We then have a copy and paste button. So this lets you copy and paste text, images, anything like that, and paste it right onto the whiteboard. We also have a straight line option right here, which you can use to underline or to draw figures. Then we have what looks like a graph here. Actually gives you two options when you click on it. You can choose the number line or the graph. So if you choose a number line, you can click and drag that onto the board. Let me just change the color here. And then I'll choose the graph this time. And I can click and drag the graph right onto the whiteboard as well. And you can double click on the icons here if you'd like to change the X and Y values. This button lets you put some basic shapes on the board. So you might want to put lines onto a graph or some other basic shapes on the board. The arrow here just removes the most recent thing you put on the board. So if you click on that, you can keep clicking on it and it'll essentially move backwards, removing the most recent item. We then have a long list of math symbols that you can use if you need any, to type out an equation or something like that. The same thing for science symbols. We have a superscript and a subscript option if those are needed. And then down at the very bottom, you can clear the entire whiteboard. You'll see we have an audio option right here. This will always be deactivated when you're connected with our tutors in a live session like this. So everything will be done through the chat box and through the whiteboard. We do have another type of session later that uses our online classroom here, but not our tutors. So it essentially allows you to have a session just like this with whoever you'd like to invite to that session. I'll explain that more in a few minutes, but with those sessions you will be able to use audio, but not when you're connected here with our tutors. Up at the top, we have a few additional options. So we have the print option, which you can use if you want to print out what's on the whiteboard here. So, if you went over a difficult problem with the tutor, you can print that out to have a hard copy of it. However, you don't need to do that because we also have back on the website here, I'm just going to minimize that briefly, we have this View Past Sessions link. So you can always click right here and essentially re-watch your live tutoring sessions. So they are recorded and saved here automatically within your account. So you can click on the play button here and re-watch that session. Let me open up the online classroom here again. We also have this email transcript button right here. The description actually needs to be updated, but what this will do is send that session recording directly to your email account. So you just type in your email address right here, and that will send that session recording to you, and then you can view that from your email rather than having to sign into your Brainfuse account. So it's just another way to access that View Past Sessions page. We also have a button here called Send File. So this will let you upload a document directly to the tutor that you're connected with. So if you log in to get help on a paper you're writing, you can send a draft of that paper directly to the tutor using this button. Any standard document type can be sent to the tutor. Then this last button here is called our Cloud Pack Explorer. Back on the website here, we have an option over here on the right called My Cloud Pack, which is essentially a storage device. So if you open that up, the first time you open it, you'll just see the My Cloud Pack folder. These two subfolders are ones that I added. So you can add whatever subfolders here you'd like, and then you can upload documents into those folders, and they'll be saved here. You can also create documents directly from Cloud Pack if you'd like. So it works as a storage device. These documents will be backed up and stored here. But the nice thing about it is that you can then access any of those documents here when you're in a live session by clicking on the Cloud Pack Explorer, and you can upload those documents right onto the whiteboard here. So it's another way to share something that you have saved with your tutor. You can use the Cloud Pack option, you can use the Send File button to send it to them, or you could also use copy and paste if it's something that could be copied and pasted onto our board here. Okay, so that's how one of our live sessions works. I'm just going to close this window here. I'll close the live session window. You'll see a little end of session survey will pop up, so your students can fill this out if they'd like to after each session that they have with our tutors. Back on the main page here, we just looked at the Live Help button. Right next to that, we have what we call the Language Lab. So this basically is where a student would go if they're working on learning the Spanish language. So currently, Spanish is the only language offered here You'll see it's the only one in the drop-down menu. So you can choose Spanish, click on Get Live Help, and that will connect you with a live tutor who can help you with learning the Spanish language. We also had within the Live Help button here that we saw before the checkbox that you can click on that will also get you a Spanish-speaking tutor. This option is usually used by a native speaker, so someone who wants to get help in math or in science from a Spanish speaker. And again, the Language Lab is for someone who's learning to speak Spanish. If we move down the page here, we get to the study section. And the first option here is the Test Center. So the Test Center basically allows a student to take an academic practice test. So if you click on the Test Center here, we have our state-aligned tests on the left. So you just choose your grade level and then a subject, and you can take a practice test in that subject. We also have here on the right practice tests for the ACT and the SAT test. So let's say I want to take an ACT math quiz. I choose that. I click on the Take a Test button. This page right here is called your My Tests page. So you'll see over here on the right, you have the My Tests option. So once a student is signed into their account, they can always click here to view their test results. So each of these sections over here on the right saves information that is unique to each student's account. So the student who signed in would only see their test results here in their Test Center. So right here is the ACT Math quiz that I just requested. I can click on the name of it right here if I want to take that quiz. That'll open up in a separate window. I can work through that test. Any test that you've already taken, the results will be saved here as well. So you can retake one of these tests. You can open it up to look through the questions to see what the correct answers were. And what a lot of students like to do is after taking one of our practice tests, they'll log in with one of our live tutors. And our live tutors are able to see your test results, so they can actually open up that test and then go over the questions you answered incorrectly with that student. Let's go back to the home page. And next to the Test Center button, we have what we call Learn Now. So basically Learn Now allows a student to browse through all of the different lessons and other materials that we have created. So our tutors can use the lessons in our live sessions with a student if that's going to help that student. But Learn Now will allow the student to search through all those materials on their own. So we have all these different topics you can choose listed up here at the top. So let's say, for example, I just choose high school. Within high school, you'll see we have a math section, a reading section, writing, physical science, life science, earth science, social studies. So within each of these topics, you'll have some subtopics as well. So let's say, for example, I just choose Algebra 1, and then I can choose from the different topics available here in Algebra 1, for example, properties of real numbers. And then within this topic, we have all these different materials available here. So you'll see a number of them are lessons, and a number of them are videos. So the videos are labeled here as videos. You can click on that, and that will open up this video here that we've recorded and created. And you can click on play. The videos have audio, and of course also a screen here as well. So it's a great way for students to get some help with learning these topics. And then we also have text lessons available as well. For example, this one right here is a text lesson that the student can look through. And again, we have that available for all these different topics that are listed up here. Back on the main page here, our next option is Flashbulb. So Flashbulb is basically an online flashcard service. So students can go here, enter their own flashcards, and then there's a lot of tools here that will help them with memorization. A lot more so than you'll have with actual hard copies of flashcards. So that's the benefit of using Flashbulb here, all the different options that you'll have. So most students will click on the Create Now button here on the left, and that will let them enter their own flashcards, so vocab words and definitions, or whatever it is that they are going to enter. We also have all these different topics that are listed over here, so you can click on these to access sets of flashcards that have already been created. For the most part, though, these sets of flashcards are just created by other students and other users of Brainfuse, so they may not be accurate. Plus, they probably won't cover the exact words that you're looking to memorize, which is why I say most students will use the Create Now button. I'm going to click on one of these topics just to show you what a set of flashcards looks like. So these are all sets of flashcards here that are available. If I click on this one, This is one set of flashcards, this page right here. So if you create one, you'll see a page just like this. And each of these different icons here will let you do something different with those cards. You can just click on the first one here to look at the cards themselves. There's a number of games you can play. For example, the crossword puzzle option right here. The system creates a crossword puzzle using the words and definitions that you entered. There's other games as well. You can take a quiz or a test, print the cards out. So there's a lot of options here that will help with memorization. So that's our flashbulb service. We're back here on the main page again. So I'll move down into our final section at the bottom, which is Collaborate. And the first option here is Meet. So essentially the Meet feature was the one that I mentioned before when we were connected in the live session up here. The Meet feature here will allow a student to schedule an online meeting with whoever they would like to invite to that session. It can also be used by teachers or tutors to schedule sessions with their students. So essentially, you click on the Meet button here, then you just follow the steps that we have here to schedule the session. So you invite people to that session by typing in their email address, and you put in the date and the time, and then a brief description of the meeting, and click on Send, and that will send an invitation to everybody whose email address you entered. So this will use our online classroom, just like the one we saw previously for the regular live session with our tutors. It's pretty much the same. So if I want to schedule one of these sessions, let's just go through that quickly. I'll type in an email address here, and then I put in the date and time. I'll just leave that as is. And then I put in a description of the meeting. Just call it demo session. So you do that, you click on the Send button. So that will send an invitation to the one email address here that I entered. So you can send that to anyone you like. It can be students, it can be teachers or tutors, or it can be vice versa, sent by a student, by a teacher to a student. Once you have one of those sessions scheduled, you just click on the calendar option right over here on the right, and this is where a scheduled session that you have would be saved. So you can go here to start that session. You can also add a session directly from this page. Again, these sessions are exactly the same. They use the same online classroom as the one that we just saw previously with the regular live session with our tutor. The only differences are you can invite any number of people to these sessions. You can use audio in these sessions, so you can speak back and forth to everyone. And if it's being run by a teacher or a tutor, and say there's 4 people in the session, the teacher will have the option of giving a private whiteboard to each student. So then the teacher or the tutor can give some one-on-one help to one or more of the students, rather than the group session, which is the default. So it's a great teaching tool if it's used by teachers or tutors, and it's also a great way for students to host a study group, or a meeting outside of the classroom to go over a test, something like that. If we go back to the home page here, right next to Meet, we have what we call Brainwave. So essentially Brainwave gives you our smartboard and all the tools that we saw within our live classroom, and it lets you create a little video recording. So if I click on Brainwave here, this is a recording that I just recorded earlier. I can click on the play button here to replay it. So I'll do that quickly to show you what it looks like. So you have the same options that you have that we looked at before. So I use the graph option to put a graph on the board, and then I put a line onto the graph. You can add shapes, anything like that. So essentially, maybe in this problem I was going to find the slope of a line. You can go through each step to find the slope of that line. You can type any text you have down here in the chat box, and you'll have this nice little video recording. So again, these could be created by students. They could also be created by teachers or tutors. And once you have one of these videos created, you can send them to somebody else. So you might use it to show how to solve a multi-step math problem, or to balance a chemistry equation, something like that. And you'll have this nice little video recording of how it's done. So once you have one of these saved, as we do here, you can then click on the envelope icon right over here to send that brainwave to somebody else. So you'll do that just by entering their email address. That will email a link to them that they can click on to view that recording. We also have our Brainwave Library tab right here. So this will let you search by keyword to see if there are any brainwaves created on a topic that you're working on. These are just like the flashcards though. This will just search through brainwaves that have, for the most part, just been created by other students and users of Brainfuse, so they may not be accurate. And you can always click on the brainwaves option you see over here on the right to access your brainwaves page right here. Okay, so we're back on the main page here. We essentially just went over all the different options that your students will have here when they access the Brainfuse service. If you have any questions as you're using the service or as you get questions from students about it, you can feel free to contact us anytime. You can also have students contact us directly with questions. The best way to do that is by sending an email to us at info@brainfuse.com. You can also use the Contact Us button right up here at the top of the page. Those are the two best ways to contact us, and we'll be pretty good about getting back to you with quick answers. So thanks to everyone for watching. I hope it was helpful. And again, feel free to contact us anytime with any issues or questions.